Today I set up the front brake shoes and the fancy adjuster mechanism.
After a lot of juggling, I actually took the back plate off again, because you can get to these 4 screws with the pads in place. It was easier to build up the back plate when it was laying horizontal on the bench, so that involved removing the brake line and the 4 bolts to release that back plate. You know, these springs, I think yellow is on one side of them, probably means yellow should be up, because I had the other spring from the other side in there, and there's obviously a left and a right hand version of that top spring. There's a left and a right hand version of that little spring there, and I suspect there's a left and a right hand version well, there definitely is a left and a right hand version of the adjuster. Maybe the bottom spring is common. There's certainly a left hand, right hand version of the stopper spring on this side. Keeping all those parts together is a good idea. I've had to sort of sort them out and refer back to my video to get it right, but I think I've got that right, and it's ready now to put that spider in, try the hubcap on, or the drum brake on. That's the spider pressed in. That's the little O-ring on there that spaces it against the drum. Then the axle's been pushed in. It's got the bell washer behind the big washer there that holds just the cap on, and the nut hasn't got the cotter pin. I haven't tightened it up yet. That's now ready to take the drum. Now, because the brake shoes are currently in the minimum setting, the drum should just go on pretty easy, like that. Rotate, because the shoes won't be dragging. I like to use, the wheel would normally go on now, but if I use a temporary washer, the original washer and the lug nut, and that holds the drum on. I don't know whether you saw, I put a bit of grease on the rubber at the back there. The temporary washer, which effectively takes up the thickness of the wheel, otherwise the nuts will bottom out on the thread there. A lug nut holds it all together. So just with those 2 lug nuts nipped up a little bit, that wheel is a lot stiffer to turn, because I think the rubber's dragging against the back now, but that's fine. It turns, it's doing its job, and that corner is now complete except for a wheel.
The proceedings have been interrupted by the kid from Bairnsdale.
This is the brake master cylinder off the handlebar. It had just 1 screw in the top, that's the one that was missing, and this is the one that was there, and I have had numerous attempts to try and get that out, resorting to trying to hit it with a centre punch around the edge to get it to move without any luck. I'm going to resort to doing a screw extraction in the milling machine, which involves setting up directly over that screw. I'll use this other screw hole as a reference. I'll actually go and get measurements off the other master cylinder to get the exact spacing of those. Hopefully it's an integer value of metric, which will make it easier. I will face the end of that first, because it's all chipped up with centre punch marks at the moment. So I've got a flat spot on there. Then I'll centre drill it, and then I will try and run a drill down the guts of it, at least far enough to get the cap off. I may then leave enough stub of the screw there for me to get a wiggle on it, but we'll see. Can't do anything about fixing the master cylinder or cleaning it out or anything while that lid's on there. So that's what I'm going to do. It's a job for tomorrow, because changing from doing brake drums to then having to job in the mill just requires a reset. So I won't do any more today. I've got to set that up properly in the mill. I found a spacer to help clamp it. I've got to get that top perfectly level, and hopefully it's horizontal this way. Then I can start centering over the top of that buggered screw and eventually get it out, hopefully.
If I can fix this master cylinder, I can then bleed the brakes. There's got to be some fun to be had in your shed.